Today's Wonderkid is one of my favourites in all of FM23. Not only is he a really special talent with amazing attributes straight away, but he is super cheap and in pretty much every save will be more than worth the money and go on to be a superstar midfielder for you and your teams. Hi everyone, Jake here for FMSCOUT. Welcome to another video on the Wonderkid to Superstar series where we take a Wonderkid and see just how good they might be able to get in your saves. Now this player is really special. He's someone that I've had in some of my personal saves and he is a true bargain gem that goes on to be great every time and can be picked up for a pretty minimal fee compared to some other Wonderkids of his level. Before we check him out though, we want to ask you guys who you'd like to see in the next episode. Let us know in the comments down below and smash the like button if you do enjoy. We're getting close to our next target of 160,000 subscribers also, so if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, then we'd massively appreciate it if you do so, but let's go find the player. We're going to be heading over to the nation of Uruguay, and don't worry, you don't have to have the Uruguayan divisions loaded or anything like that to find this player. He tends to be in the majority of saves. I've got this set to a large database with only the Spanish League loaded, so there's only about 12,000 players in this database, and he is here. You head over to Uruguay and we're going to Liverpool FC. They're one of the more prominent footballing sides in the nation and their captain and key player is Fabrizio Diaz, someone who's only 19 years of age. And the thing that will strike you about him straight away is how well-rounded his attributes are. Set pieces, crossing, dribbling, finishing, first touch. I could go down the whole list, but basically, if you just take a look at him, you'll see that every single attribute is at a good level. The only thing that he lacks maybe is a little bit of tackling, but we can forgive that. His physical attributes, his strength lacks and his jumping reach, but other than that, he's pretty much perfect at 19 to have this good mental attributes, these technicals and those physicals. It really means he could play pretty much any role that you'd want in your system. You could mould him into that role over the next few years, and he is an absolute bargain. Now, I've used him before as a deep line playmaker on the support duty behind my midfield. I did that in the Aberdeen save that I have going on my channel, where we picked him up for a couple of million a year or so in, and then we sold him 1 year later for 30 million, a club record fee. If you want to come and check that series out and my channel, you can find it linked in the description down below, and I'd massively appreciate it if you would come over and check it out. But Fabrizio Diaz is an absolute gem, not just because he has these attributes, not only because he can play all of these positions and roles at an equal level, not only does he have good leadership and determination at only the age of 19, but he is super cheap. Because of the club he's at, you are able to access him quite comfortably, even if you're not the biggest team in the world. We were a mid-table Scottish team when we signed him for a couple of £1 million, and he was great, and that's the kind of valuation you'll be able to sign him for. His potential range is 130 to 160, so it's not as high as most of the players we've looked at, but I absolutely love Fabrizio Diaz. I think he's a real gem, and I really wanted to make a whole video focused on him to show you just how good he can become, and trust me, he is going to blow you away in this video. But only a couple of £1 million is what you'll pay for him, even on the highest end of his potential range. You'll likely have to compete with some pretty big clubs to try and sign him because he is an absolute bargain. But he's the player we're going to be looking at today. The first thing I'll be doing is bringing him over to our Real Madrid side and showing you how we set him up for success. Now, as mentioned, Diaz here could play pretty much any role you want, whether it be that box-to-box, whether it be the deep line playmaker, but I'm going to use him a little bit further forward in this simulation as a Mazzala on the attack duty. And I will let you know now, because he does have good corners and penalty taking, during this simulation he will end up on most of Real Madrid's set pieces, and that will help him a lot in terms of his in-game performances. Now, you'll see straight away that his star ratings don't look that great right now, but we are Real Madrid. He's being compared to some great players, but don't worry about this at this moment, because these star ratings are not an accurate reflection at all of a player, and this is going to change massively during this sim. But you'll see the only cons he has is that, yes, he's maybe not ready for this level just yet, and he has a bit of an aggressive streak. But he is a consistent player, and every time I've loaded up a save, he seems to have that in his coach report, so it might be something that's actually set. I don't know for sure, but either way, he is a great player with a bunch of great attributes. In terms of training, we're just going to have him focus on that role that he's playing as at Mazzala on the attack. But if you did want to do an additional focus, maybe passing would be a good one to get the passing vision and technique up. That could help him a a lot in terms of his role. It depends where he's playing, of course. If you're using him as a playmaker, focus on that. If it's a Mezzala, maybe you want better decisions in the final third, whatever it might be, Diaz is set up to do it for your team and do it well. But now we're going to simulate a few years ahead to see just how well he can do in your saves. Okay, here we are in 2024. Diaz has been playing in our Real Madrid side for 2 years, and you're going to see him firstly on the lowest version of that potential range. In the worst case scenario, this is what your £2 million investment will get you. And I don't think it's bad by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying he's world class right now or anything like that, or even Real Madrid level, but he's got some great attributes all around, and you'll see easily he has been worth that £2 million fee. But as mentioned, this is him in the worst case scenario. You're going to see him a little later in the best version of himself, and that is something that is really special to see when you consider that initial investment. But he is now a Uruguay international. He is still a very good player for us. His attributes have developed a fair bit, particularly his physicals, but his in-game performance is what I want to highlight here. In his first season, he got 11 goals and 19 assists as at Mezzala on the attack duty. Now, apparently 7 of the goals were penalties, so he will take it with a pinch of salt, but 19 assists is very special. And then if we check out his most recent season, it seems like the game wasn't as willing to use him as often as possible because of squad registration issues, but in the end, he did still get a good average match rating. But this is exactly what you'd expect, right? He can add goals and assists. He's got consistent average ratings. He's Mr. Consistent in the middle. He's probably going to end up as Real Madrid captain in this simulation, but this is him at his worst. I really like the attribute analysis graph here because it's so well rounded. But now I'm going to show you how good Fabrizio Diaz can become, and I imagine all of you are going to go into your save and sign him as soon as possible when you see this. Okay, so at this point the year is 2032. Our Real Madrid side have just won the league. We're about 10 years on from where we originally started in this simulation, but let's go take a look at Fabrizio Diaz here. You can see he's already classed as a 4-star player. Let's go check out his attributes, and remember, if you want to see how he might develop and make you a profit after only a year or so, then do check out that Aberdeen series on my channel. We also have some rebuild videos over there, as well as some YouTube shorts about Wonderkids you might not have heard of, so do come and check that out. But Fabrizio Diaz, what a player. 29 years of age here, at his maximum of 160 current ability. First thing I'm going to say is those attributes have become so well-rounded. They already were great, but now you look at that 15 passing, 17 vision, 15 technique. Okay, he's a passer. He can't do anything else, right? No, he can take a set piece brilliantly. He can dribble, finish. He's got good heading ability, long shots. He can cross the ball in. He works hard for the team. He positions himself well. He makes good movements off the ball, good decision making. Physically, he's quick, agile and strong. There's not too much more you could want from a midfielder. As time has gone on as well, he has become a very consistent player. His leadership is now at 15. He's one of the most experienced players in this Real Madrid side. And if you think these attributes are good and that coach report is good, wait until you see his in-game performances. After you saw him last, he then went on to get 16 goals and 16 assists in the following season. 8 of them goals were penalties, and then after that, 15 goals, 20 assists, 11 goals, 21 assists, amazing average match ratings, brilliant performances, and in his most recent season, getting 16 goals and 20 assists. That's 36 goal contributions in only 37 matches, which is exceptional to see from a player like Fabrizio. Remember, we only signed him for a couple of £1 million. He's now valued at 70 million or so, and that's when he's 29. Imagine when he's 25, 26, you're going to get some huge bids for this player, and he's certainly worth that initial investment. An absolute star, but how good is he at the end of his career? Well, his attributes have certainly started to tick down. His technicals have gone up, but his physicals have absolutely shot down at the age of 36, where he's had 69 appearances for Uruguay with 16 goals. But if we do take a look, age did not stop him in the league, where he continued to perform consistently well, getting 7.3, 7.4 average match ratings for about 7 years in a row. And remember how cheap you can get this guy for. He's certainly worth that investment. I absolutely love him as a player. He's one of my favourites, and that's why I wanted to make a video on him. I think his price is great. He'll be in most of your saves. His ability right away is exceptional. His potential to be a leader, and of course he has the potential to get even better than the player that you're buying and make you a huge profit or become a star for your team. Like I say, in my Aberdeen save, we picked him up for 2 million and then a year later sold him for 30 million, and that put us like 3 years ahead in terms of where we expected to be, because that 30 million allowed us to reinvest and get a way better squad, and I'm a massive fan of him. I think he's great, and he's one that you guys should definitely check out if you haven't already. He'll play any role for you and do it well. If you have enjoyed this video, smash the like button, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.